Good evening, gentle listener, and welcome to Distractible, a Wood Elf production. This week, Bob hosts and heralds limestone for cracks in erections and licks his hands clean after an expulsion. Mark saves groceries from being lost and gets caught red-handed in the condom jar. Wade stalks Mark, nearly gets stabbed in the back, and checks for anthrax. Yes, it's time for Profession Confessions. Now sit back and prepare to be distracted and enjoy the show.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Distractible. I am your host today, and my name is Bob. If you're new here, this is a podcast where I host, well, actually, that's not true. One person hosts and the other two compete. I'm hosting this week because I won the last episode, because I am the best friend in the world, and or I am a slightly better bad friend than Wade is, but whatever, it's fine. For whatever reason, I won. And as you'll see, there are points sometimes, or otherwise, scoring, or it doesn't matter. There's just gonna be a winner. That's the ultimate thing. There's a winner, could be arbitrary, could be highly scientific, who knows? But one of these two men I'm about to introduce will be that winner. It's either gonna be Mark or Wade.
Oh, is that where we come in?
Hey!
I don't know, man.
It's me.
Say hi, don't say hi.
Bob, you have 10 toes. Do I win?
Bob, you have 5 toes on your left foot.
Ooh, which one is righter? That's the real question.
Right one.
Oh,
Unless you got your feet
about
crossed over, then it's your left.
Ooh.
If anything, your left foot has toes that go incrementally bigger from pinky to big toe, so they're kind of escalating in a right direction.
Unless your second toe from the big one is a little bit longer, which is a common thing in feet.
Well, he said bigger, not longer, though.
Yeah, I know.
Bigger volumetrically, even if the one might be longer.
Well, you are assuming he meant volumetrically. He could have meant length. He just said bigger.
He meant bigger. Longer
I
is
just
not
wanted to
bigger.
clarify
Bigger is
that it
bigger,
could
and
also
longer
be.
is longer.
Yeah.
Well, bigger is longer about length.
No, I stayed away from the length conversation by emphasizing the bigness of it, which is inarguable.
Look, girth and length both matter.
Girth and length create bigness. Neither alone is big. One is long and one is, well, what? Girthy?
Yeah.
I don't know. The fabled pancake dick would still be pretty girthy and big, even if it's not very long.
I don't know.
It depends how extraordinarily girthy or long it is. But honestly, I don't think that's the point. If you want to understand what's happening, listeners, you better listen to last week's episode, or else none of this is going to make sense. But if you listen to the episode from last week, this will all make sense. Clearly. I think you'll see.
I don't think so. I don't think anything that happened last week makes sense.
I think it'll make sense.
All right, well, what's the topic this week, Bob? Or do you care about us?
Easy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
calm down. I'm a host.
I didn't realize our small talk ultimately led to quizzes later on, so I just kind of want to skip it and go right into the topic.
That's the strong attitude, and I respect it. 1 point for Wade.
Thank you.
But before we usually do small talk. We just skip right over small talk. What's up with you guys? You got any fun stuff?
I don't know.
Anything new?
Wade showed up to my house with like a notepad and like binoculars. He's been spying on me ever since, just muttering things to himself in the distance. I invite him inside and he goes like, he shakes
I
his
want to
head.
be clear about something, Mark. I didn't know where you lived, so I looked at a lot of people's houses before I got to the right place.
That's interesting. You could have just asked.
Well, I didn't want you to know I didn't know, but now I know, so I'm okay with you knowing I didn't used to know.
Okay. That's is that fair, Bob? I don't know if that's fair. I can't judge.
I don't know if fair is the word, but you know what? It's honest, and that's good.
What, does he get another point for that?
No.
Okay.
I'll give one of you a point if you've heard of this thing that I want to talk about. Have you guys heard that they figured out how Roman concrete was made and how it's been so resilient?
I'm lying, but yes.
I'm not lying, but no.
Well, if you'd been telling the truth, Wade, you might have had a chance.
I was telling the truth about lying.
What?
I was telling a lie about not lying. One of us speaks in riddles, one of us speaks in rhymes. Who was lying all the time? Wait, this is where you join in.
Hi diddly dee, ha 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 hee hee, give a point to me. Whoa 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 pee pee. The classic.
Does he get a point for that?
I'm just gonna take a nap right here until I die. I don't want to get out of this labyrinth.
Well, tell us
I don't
about
like
the
it.
Roman Catholic concrete or whatever you said.
All right. So Roman concrete is incredibly resilient, right? The Parthenon in Rome has stood for centuries, over 1,000 years. I don't know for sure. But like,
Parthenon.
I thought that was made of marble.
but like Roman concrete is so much more resilient than like modern concrete, right? If they built a bridge, a modern bridge, a decade ago, it wouldn't surprise me and anyone, you know, if you live with that bridge and you see how it is, I don't think anyone would be surprised to know the concrete probably is kind of crumbly after a decade. After a few decades, modern concrete starts revealing the rebar underneath it and all this stuff. It crumbles to bits. But Romans did something that the researchers think they finally figured out what they did that made the concrete not only really strong without any rebar or reinforcement to it, but it heals itself, which is fascinating.
Oh.
The theory is that they think they figured out is that the concrete mix that Romans used had
semen in it.
Close, but not at all.
Damn it.
It had big chunks of limestone in it, and like way bigger chunks than you would normally want to have in concrete. Like, you know, they stick out. They seem weird, right? It's a weird characteristic. Concrete, you want it to be pretty uniform and well mixed and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about the limestone is the way that they put it into the mix, it was sort of like scattered about. And so the thing about the limestone is when a crack would form, that would expose the interior of the concrete, whatever it was, building, bridge, whatever, structure thing, to water, right? Water would get into the crack. It would seep into that new hole in the concrete. But the limestone mixed into the concrete dissolves when water touches it. And it would actually create like a new calcification where the water would go into the crack, it would dissolve the limestone, and whatever chemical sort of reaction stuff happens there, basically it would heal itself. The limestone would create calcification that would fill the crack and like expand out into the crack because of the water getting in there. So literally the Romans had a technique for making concrete where it heals itself, it fixes itself, and it's incredibly resilient. Aqueducts and buildings and things standing for centuries when modern concrete buildings, you know, crumble to bits after 50 years. So I don't know how this is going to be used in modern technology, if anyone gives a shit, but I think it's fascinating because I've been to Rome and I've seen the Parthenon and tons of other, you know, very old Roman structures and things. It's insane that all these buildings have been standing for this long and they're made of just poured concrete buildings. Crazy.
So it's the calcification. Interesting.
Yeah.
So if they just gave the concrete milk, could milk build strong bones and strong concrete walls?
Absolutely. If you ever see concrete with big cracks in it, looks like it's crumbling away, just pour some milk in there and that'll...
Well, so he was right about semen. It's the same thing.
Right.
Milk
Is
semen?
cow semen.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's white.
Mm-hmm.
And both go well with Cheerios.
Mm-hmm.
One of us speaks in riddles, one of us speaks in rhymes. Which one's telling the
Look,
truth?
You're all making this seem very boring, but it's cool, okay?
It is cool.
It is really cool. Is limestone hard to come by? Could they get enough limestone to do that with roads and things?
There's a lot of limestone.
I don't think limestone, I think limestone is a fairly common, because it basically forms, well, no, I'm not going to say that. I don't know how limestone forms, but it's something that forms pretty commonly.
Well, it's when limes fall into rocks and become part of
I'll
the
tell you
fossilized
how
rock.
it forms. Limestone forms when these minerals precipitate out of water containing dissolved calcium.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
This can take place both biological and non-biological processes, though biological processes such as the accumulation of corals and shells in the sea have likely been more important for the last 540 million years. Limestone often contains fossils which provide scientists for information with the ancient environment and the evolution of life.
Okay, well, if we're going to go that route, it forms when calcite or aragonite precipitate out of water containing dissolved calcium.
Oh, don't forget about the
And the
dolomite.
solubility of calcium carbonate, otherwise known as CaC03, is controlled largely by the amount of dissolved carbon dioxide in the water. So if you're going to go specific, at least give us, the details.
Well, okay, you're highly forgetting about how it's divided into low magnesium and high magnesium calcite.
I wasn't forgetting. I was just trying to be
The dividing line around 4%.
fair enough,
Yeah.
One of us speaks in riddles. One of us speaks in riddles.
My point to Mark for hitting Wade with the hot, spicy gotcha.
Gotcha.
Wait, didn't we both do that?
Yeah, but Mark did it last. And
Yeah.
So thusly, he gets
But I did the last riddles.
I don't know, man. Look, it's very interesting. And I found that through the glorious app called TikTok. I spend too much time on TikTok, guys. It's a problem.
Fair enough.
Anyway, none of that had to do with anything that's going on in our lives. And that's the way, we like it.
We're great. Thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything going on? You guys okay? How you doing? You good?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad we stopped for that. Anyway, on to today's topic. And I actually, honestly, this was kind of inspired by last episode, but it's not a repeat topic. Checked. But today I want to talk about something I feel like anyone who has worked or volunteered or, I don't know, done any sort of group project, I think a lot of people will relate to weird, funny, and or crazy stories from work and or things that are like work. I will never forget, I think I lied in the last episode too. I said my first job was at Kroger. That was actually not true. My second job was Kroger. My first
lied
job
to Mark?
I lied.
On the day of his quiz, that's minus 3 points. I'm the winner.
Yeah, I lied to win. I lied, and the subreddit knows the truth. It's a conspiracy.
Well, technically, it would have been only 1 point difference, and he was 2 up, so he still would have won.
But if you'd found out he was lying, you never would have given the softball blue Yeti question. I would have gotten that. Then I would have been a point up.
True. It's true. Wade's figured it out.
Oh, which one of us is telling the riddle, and which one of us is telling the...
No, I hate that. All the points are reset for that bit, continuing beyond the first part.
Well, you know it's going to keep coming. Have you ever heard of the ship of Theseus?
Anyway, my first job. The guy was weird, and he made us do boob stuff. Is that enough to pique your interest? Yeah, there you go. You didn't let me get to to the thing. So my very first job it was at a Papa Murphy's, which is a take and bake pizza restaurant where we put together a pizza, but it's on raw dough and you bring it home and bake it in your own oven, which seems like a little bit of a scam.
Okay, boobs and pizza do go well together. Go on.
But so part of that job, I got that job because a friend was working there and was like, we need people in the store. Do you want a job? And he got me the job. And part of the job is preparing the dough, right? We made the dough fresh in the restaurant. And part of making the dough was you have to like mix it up and then make it into a big ball, but then you cut it into a bunch of smaller things. And then you sort of put it through this machine that like stretches it out, but then you form it back into balls. So it's, I don't really remember, but basically there's a lot of making of balls. What you end up with is little dough balls that are, as the owner and weirdest man I've ever worked for, I think, put it, about the size, shape, and feel of a nice pair of tatas.
Well, yeah. And the way you typically flatten them out, if I remember right, is you duct tape them to your chest and then you go jogging. And as you're bouncing your breasts, the dough flattens out into a perfect pie.
It stretches naturally out into exactly the shape of a pizza.
I feel like this is somehow offensive, but I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, right. There's something about it. Like this was like a 50-year-old man. He and his wife owned this place, but he was in there a lot, showing us how to do stuff and teaching us how to run the store and do the whatever, make the dough, prepare the ingredients. And every time we did the dough and made it into the dough balls, where then you put it in the cooler and it sort of like rests or rises or whatever dough does. Every time he would just talk the whole time. He's like, "Yeah, make some nice tata, boys. Shape them up real good. Like use both hands. Make
curious,
those tatas."
What is the perfect pair of tatas? Because I feel like all tatas are pretty damn good. Small, big, medium, whatever. So I'm guessing he had a particular size in mind, or was it literally whatever size you made, he was just like, perfect.
I mean, we made different size dough balls, right? Because you want different amount. You would weigh the dough and you want a different weight.
Because they're small, medium, large, and extra large.
Yeah. Actually, the sizes at this restaurant were small, medium, large, and honkers, but...
Okay, hold on. I'm sensing a theme almost. No. One of us speaks innuendos. The other...
Is that a riddle or a rhyme over there?
No, that I'm thinking that might be an exaggeration. But anyway, this is just a thing that has stuck with me, right? Like, it was creepy. I can't put my finger on it, but like, it's weird. We were all dudes who worked in this restaurant. So he was clearly like, I'm one of the boys. Right? The boobs, the tatas, make the ta. It's weird. And it's just stuck with me. And I feel like I have tons of other stories too, because I worked on a college campus and weird shit happens around college campuses. But I feel like everyone who's had a job or anything like that, there's got to be these funny or weird or creepy moments that just stick with you.
Quick question.
And that's what I want the topic to be today. What?
So I'm guessing all of your pie crusts were round, right?
Yeah.
If you made a square pizza, would you roll it into a cube instead of a ball first?
How do you roll? What?
How do you make a cube of dough?
Well,
we didn't make square pizzas, so to answer your question directly, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I was curious how you would do it. Anyway,
Actually, you
go
know
on.
what? I worked at another pizza place where we did make square pizzas, and you actually do. I worked at a Jets Pizza, which is a Detroit-style pizza place, and you make square pizzas there. You do shape it into a rectangle to have it rise, but it's not a cube. It's way more of like a two-dimensional rectangular that only has a little bit of, z-axis. Anyway, why? What am I talking about?
Boobs.
Getting older.
Honkers.
Honkers. That's right.
Honkers that are getting older.
You guys want a Honkers chicken bacon ranch from Papa Murphy's?
Oh, yeah. Could open up Honky's Pizza. We have a clown mascot
Pizza.
with huge boobs.
Tyler's favorite pizza restaurant. This episode of Go, My Favorite Sports Team is sponsored by Honky's Pizza. Sorry, Tyler. Yeah, anyway, I want to hear your stories. I know we all have this weird job now where we do YouTube and we do this podcast, and there are plenty of funny stories from what we do, but that's because we have a fake job that's not real, and when are we going to get a real job, you dirty hippie? Us dirty hippies, whatever.
Oh, I thought you were
But
calling
we
our
all
audience.
have worked like part-time gigs. Mark worked in a restaurant. We worked there together, kind of. Not together, because you were a bartender, which means you were better than me.
I was a bartender for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, who's better than who? I don't know.
Damn.
But yeah, so hit me. What do you got? Give me
you know
some
Mark only
titles.
worked as a bartender for like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, well, I know him better than you, so of course I knew that.
He's got you there.
Damn it.
But yeah, let's do it old school. Hit me with some titles. Tell me some funny stories, some ridiculous thing. Do it. Do it. And I shall judge you.
Okay. I got a title.
Yeah?
I got a title too.
Yeah.
Mark first.
My title is If I Just Move Slowly Enough.
Yeah. Intriguing. I'm piqued. My interest is piqued.
Oh, jeez.
I'm peeking.
Uh,
What do you got, Wade?
Yeah, I killed him. But hang on, I'm peeing.
I'm sorry, Mark. Wade has to go first.
Damn, he picked the riddle, not the rhyme.
Wade's leading off with a banger. Point for Wade.
Thank you. So I think you guys know this, but for a long time, I, like Bob, wanted to be an attorney. So I got a job as a clerk at the federal courthouse in Cincinnati, and I was working in the clerk's office. And in the clerk's office, as the newbie, one of the tasks I was assigned was to handle the incoming mail. And because, we had federal judges in our building, the mail was on a completely separate ventilation system. So that way, if somebody sent something in like anthrax or whatever, the judges were protected and just us lowly clerks would die or blow up or whatever. So one of my first times being assigned to the mail, we had to put on full masks, gloves, the works or whatever. It wasn't necessarily required, but it was highly recommended because you didn't know exactly what you were going to be handling. And I think I might have mentioned this in the past, but one of the pieces of mail that was common to get was prisoner mail, where they would send mail from prison following up on their court cases or trying to get an appeal or, sometimes just being an asshole to judges, whatever. And we got a box from a prison one time, and I opened it up to start processing it, and it was a toilet paper roll. Have I told you guys this story?
No. Like the cardboard center of a toilet paper roll,
No,
or just
a full toilet paper roll with toilet paper on it.
with writing on it?
It was written on. So someone had unrolled like a toilet paper roll and written a murder confession. They detailed almost everything about the murder, as far as I know, on this toilet paper roll. And when they were done writing their murder confession, they rolled it back up. But after they rolled it back up, they pissed on it. All over it. They soaked this toilet paper roll with urine that has then dried and caked. And so we had to try to carefully process a murder confession on dried urine-soaked toilet paper.
And that's like one ply, like he's in the sheriff's jail or in prison or something paper, right? This is
I couldn't tell you because the toilet paper was hard as a rock.
ooh,
And they didn't allow us to even try to unroll it.
that sounds like CSI needs to get in on that piss paper.
Yeah, but the first, you could see somehow whatever he wrote with didn't, or she, I don't know, remember at this point, whatever they wrote with didn't fully blur. When you piss on it, the ink didn't just melt into unlegible whatever. It might have deeper in, but the top layers were legible. And it started off with this is going to be a detailed account of several murders I committed, yada yada yada. And so it was a serious thing that had to be processed. But I was standing there with a mask on, these latex gloves, holding just a toilet paper roll soaked in urine with a very important murder confession on it. And we used to get all kinds of weird shit. That was probably the weirdest. But most of the letters we got from like the prisons and such had horrible, weird stains all over the envelopes, whether it was blood or something else. It was disgusting and awful. And I don't recommend anybody ever do it. Open that mail. It's terrible.
That's interesting.
Yep. So there is my tale of the toilet paper murder. Confession, at least.
Interesting.
So what did that come in, like a box? They allowed to ship packages to you from jail?
I guess so. I don't think it was like a manila envelope. I think it was an actual box. So I'm assuming maybe if they told like the people at the prison, like, hey, this is my murder confession. I don't know how that works. And it's been so long I don't recall what it came in, because like my memory is of holding it and trying to read what it said on it.
Oh my God.
And then looking around for like a superior to be like, I think this is a murder confession, but and he's just, what do I do with this? I can't send it to the, because once you sorted the mail, you would send it to like the appropriate judge or whatever. So it's like, I knew what judge was supposed to receive it. It's like, I don't think I can just put a urine soaked toilet paper roll in the judge's basket and be like, here, deliver it. So there was a lot of protocol questions that we didn't have answers to with that.
Interesting. I like to imagine at the jail, prison, whatever, the inmate that did that let it fully dry up and then brought it over to like the post office or whatever, the post window. And there's the security guard or whoever's working in there. He hands it to him and it's like, what is this? Oh, I peed on it. So now it's all dry. And the guard is just like, I don't even fucking want to. I'm not going to ask. I'll just box this up and ship it. God damn it. I hate this place.
I want to make sure I put my personal seal on it so I knew it was from me.
That's really interesting and also concerning, but
yeah.
I hope that wasn't like a minimum wage job.
No.
Paying you $7 an hour to put on your anthrax mask in case you get dosed by a piece of angry mail.
I think I made $12 an hour there.
Well, that's worth it. That's risking your life money right there.
Hazard pay.
That might be wrong, though. That might have been my other job. I think it was between 10 and 12. I can't remember exactly. It was between 10 and 12, so it wasn't minimum wage, but...
Wild. I mean, obviously, you didn't die of some kind of poisoning attack or whatever. Did anything crazy ever happen where just an envelope full of powder that turned out to be like flour or something came into the mailroom, or was that not
while I was there?
Not a reality.
Yeah, not while I was there. They do screen to some extent, I guess, but ultimately it fell to us to make sure that we weren't putting any of like the judges in danger. But no, other than that, and a couple of, like I said, weird stained envelopes, murder confessions, most of it was like just filing documents or trying to get like appeals and stuff. There were some creepy things, like I think there was a love letter to a judge from a prisoner once, but I don't recall the details of that one either because I don't think I processed it. I just heard about it. But no, thankfully that was the worst thing that I dealt with. Though it was always scary whenever you had an envelope that looked like it had gone through one of the Saw movies and you had to open it and figure out what the hell was inside.
Well, that's interesting. I do feel like I wish you killed somebody in the story, but you know what? 5 points to Wade for an interesting story and a really gross sounding murder confession.
As a bonus, I didn't kill anybody, but there was a time where I came through after lunch and there was metal detectors on both sides of the entrances of the courthouse. So people had to go through that before they could come in. And there was a time where I was going through and a guy behind me pulled out a knife and tried to run through the metal detector right behind me. And one of the security guys like ran past me and tackled him as I was walking there. That was scary.
That is scary.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, so that's my bonus almost murdered story. I don't know if he was going to stab me or if he was just, I don't know what he was doing, but he pulled out a knife and was right behind me apparently. Anywho,
good dodging or whatever you did. I'm not going to add any more points though. You get 5 points.
Clerk's best job ever.
It sounds like it-ish. Well, Mark.
Yes.
What if you just move slowly then?
Yes. So this is back at my first job, which if I'd told the story sooner, you might know that my first job was at Kroger.
Oh, valuable information. I'll remember that.
Yeah, I worked as a non-food stocking clerk, which means I'm in charge of everything that was not food. Even when I was working there, I didn't understand what the title meant. It wasn't until like many years later that I was like, non-food. Oh, non-food. Oh! I was very dumb. I believe I was 15. And so one of my responsibilities, in addition to stocking the non-food shelves, was to take a shopping cart and go around every aisle and pick off things that people leave behind. So people will leave like random things in odd places, and I'm supposed to go grab them, put them in a cart, push them to the back so they can be resorted later. Right?
Sure.
Very simple job. Very dumb. A few weeks into my first job doing this particular part of my job, I noticed something behind the baby food. I like scooted it aside and I saw a box of condoms. Now, a box of condoms is actually in my department, but the problem with this one is it was torn open, right? Someone had ripped open a box, stolen out some condoms. Don't know why, just happens. But the first time I had ever seen something like that. And so me, being a 15-year-old, I go, what? Condoms? Oh my goodness. Like, I was actually like flustered at even the thought of someone seeing me, like even handling this box of condoms, but I put it in the cart and I started pushing the cart around. I was like, I pushed it out of my mind, you know?
Yeah.
But I saw it and I was like, and I didn't have a girlfriend or anything at the time. So it was like, there was no urgent need for this. But for some reason in my mind, I went, maybe if I had some condoms, maybe I might be able to have sex someday. I'd be ready for it at least. And so as I'm pushing my cart through the aisles, I start slowing down physically, like the cart, because I'm thinking like, okay, it's in like where, you know, you scoot out the baby thing and it's like you would sit a toddler in there. So it's at the top part of that. And I had positioned it very carefully for there so that as I'm pushing the cart, I could slowly move my hand like off of the grip and down and try to grab a condom out of it. And I'd be like, I'll just pocket one and then I'll have one. And then I will have the condom power. But I didn't realize,
Condom power.
I didn't realize that, I thought all the ladies would be like, whoa, you have a condom? Oh, yes, I want you.
Now that looks like the kind of guy that has a condom in his wallet.
I didn't know you were a man.
Did you know that 6 years later you would have sex? Was it with that condom?
Man, you know the year. Wow.
I know you. Please tell me it was with that condom that was definitely not expired by then.
I hope not. No. So I reach into the box eventually after moving to a snail's pace because I knew they had cameras and they watch. I felt like every camera was gonna look at me as soon as I started making my move, so I had to move very slowly. And I reach in and I'm like, I'll just pull out one. And then I ran into the first problem, which condoms are in a roll of perforated string. You have to tear it off of the. Sometimes I guess other condom boxes are just single, but this one was a roll. And
Most of them
to tear them off.
It's like condoms by the foot.
Yeah, exactly. And I couldn't do this one-handed, especially considering it's a small box and I'm trying to like stick my hand in. There's not enough room. So I'm panicking. I'm like sweating. I'm in the middle of like, I don't know what aisle, but probably green beans or something like that. And I'm just like, my heart is pounding out of my chest because my hand is.
Green giant? I'm a giant.
That's what my boss would come around the corner and just be like, what are you doing in the food section? You're non-foods. Just stomp. I'm like sweating and I have to, because my hand is in the proverbial condom jar, like the cookie jar. I'm stuck in there. The worst possible place to be stuck.
Who stole the condom from the condom jar?
One of us speaks in riddles, the other
So I bail. I remove my hand from it. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. I can't. It's not here amongst the green beans. No way. I couldn't do it. So I start pushing the cart again.
Green beans are watching. I couldn't.
They are. The thing in animations where all of a sudden the things around you just start looming and turn into shapes. Like the trees turns into a wolf, and the tree turns.
Green giant crosses his arms and just shakes his head at you.
Oh no! Whatever the hell he said, I don't know.
No.
Green giant. No.
No sex for you. And I pushed the cart around, and then eventually I made it back to the place. If you probably have seen it in grocery stores where there's just a random cart with a bunch of bullshit in it by the back door. That's where I would put it because then they would take it back and they would store it.
You wouldn't need a condom for the back door.
I'm 15. I don't know anything of what you're talking about. This joke goes over my head. So don't laugh like that ever again. But then I have like this surge of adrenaline. I'm mad because I like lost my quote unquote chance. So I look at it and I'm if the camera saw me, it would look like I was a cryptid because I was standing there at that shelf of like discount items, just like fuming, like, and then in a flurry of motion, I like reach my hand and rip off one as fast as I can and then shove it in my pocket. And I actually got like 2 or 3. I don't remember how many, but I shoved it in my pocket and I just stomped away. I stomped and I sat at the makeup counter and I just stood there and I sat there and I didn't finish the job I was doing. I didn't finish collecting all the shit. I didn't stock any shelf and I just sat there for like 30 minutes as my heart was like, I did it. It was only a few years later that I realized that you can just buy condoms at any age. I thought you needed to be 18 years old to buy a condom. I thought it was like cigarettes. So I was like, oh man, I didn't need to do that. I didn't need anything part of that. So that's how I got my first condom. Trust me, they went unused.
I'm expecting the store to reach out with a lawsuit soon to reclaim their lost condom funds.
What's the statute of limitations on this one?
I don't know.
Come on, lawyers. What is it? Give me a riddle. Give me a rhyme. What do I got?
You're gonna do time. Huh?
You stole a condom. You're going to jail, you evil boy. You'll also go to hell.
No, well, I like that one less.
One of us speaks in rhymes.
Is that a riddle or is that a rhyme?
I don't know why,
figure it
but
out.
when you were talking about your fear of your manager just stomping around the corner, I went down a rabbit hole in my own mind of imagining ways you'd get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he walked up and you were just like, I'm just counting them to see how many were stolen. several are missing. Or like the manager comes up behind you and it's like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, you put your left hand in and put your left hand out. It's like, I was just using this box to play this game.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Here's the little balloon animal. Look, this is a doggy.
Look, it's a snake.
What are you doing? I have recreated how the thief did it. He put his hand in the box and then took the condoms out. We should give this information to the police.
I'm glad you're here. You're just in time. That's how I talked when I was 15.
If it makes you feel any better about this whole like didn't know condom age thing, the first time I saw a condom and it has like that little like blip at the end, I was like, is your dick supposed to have like an extra little tip on it? Like a tip of the tip?
Yeah.
That is classic. That's like that's like finding the cherry.
Yeah.
It's like whenever I thought the pee hole was a third area on the woman's body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, up until what, a year ago? You thought that?
Yeah, yesterday actually. I learned it after that episode.
Oh, wow.
Oh wait, no,
I've forgotten with my terrible memory.
I think this was on the subreddit. Maybe I forget where I saw this, but I saw something that made me think of you. I think it was a subreddit. It's a TikTok or something. It's like a video on social media of a group of young like teenage friends hanging out, and they're all laughing hysterically. And there's a girl who's like, "Oh my god, stop! I'm peeing my pants! I'm gonna pee my pants!" And then there's a guy casually leaning up against the wall on like the other side of the room, and he's like, "How could you pee your pants? You have a tampon in."
I did see that one.
And everyone in the room is like, bro, what? And he's like, what? She has a tampon in. How are you gonna pee around that? You can't pee your pants. You got a tampon. I think it was in the subreddit because I think someone was like, "This is Wade. Wade thinks this."
Oh god damn it!
Most of what I see on the subreddit is like, "Ha! This reminded me of Wade."
Great. I'm assuming it's not positive things typically.
It's a mix. Hey, I think you're winning the war or whatever the hell happened. I don't know.
Oh hell yeah! What are we fighting?
There's like a civil war. Will has an army now. I don't know the details. I can't be bothered.
Oh shit, we're winning. Go team! Or guys, stop. Depending on the reasoning.
Anyway, I love that story, Mark. I feel like I've had that. I don't know how common that is, but I definitely have had that thing where there was like an opportunity at work to where technically is like stealing, but also, you know, mine was probably like I had the opportunity to get a free sandwich at Jimmy John's, and I was like, ooh, sneak it into my bag instead of throwing it out like I'm supposed to. Not as cool as condoms, but you know.
Yeah, it's like at UDF when you're supposed to clean up the soft serve machines. It's like, well, we're about to dump all this anyway. I guess just put a little soft serve in a cup before we clean it out.
Yeah, who's getting hurt?
Dude,
you know, why
Ichiban, I ate almost everyone's leftovers, and that's probably much more disgusting. Like I'm not ashamed of it.
No, this is an interesting thing. I did not do that at Ichiban generally because I was a busser, so I was out where people could see me more in the restaurant a lot of the time, even though I could have hidden in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But this is a thing I've seen hotly debated online, and I will say, I don't think it's that weird. I think if you're working in a restaurant and you have, someone doesn't eat their food or whatever, especially if it's clearly untouched.
Yeah.
What do you think, Wade? I'm on the side of eating people's leftovers, whatever, that they didn't touch on their plate. I get that. It's good food. Who's throwing that out?
I'm not gonna bite into something that they've bitten into. Like that's definitely out. Like
I don't care if someone else does it. I couldn't myself do it because my brain goes to like, what if they sneezed on it, or what if they touched it? What if their plate started to slide and they grabbed it with their hand? What if, like, I think of all the weird what ifs, and I would not be able to do it.
You're that one person who's like, I'm not going to eat this, but I'm going to lick everything on this plate in case one of the bussers thinks they're cool and eats my shit. I paid for this.
I wouldn't do that, but I worry that someone else would.
I'm hoping, I bet they're in the subreddit or wherever, there's going to be people who are like, oh, disgusting. But I hate to break it to you, anyone who's ever eaten in a restaurant, I've been in restaurant kitchens before, and I can tell you that the level of caution that chefs and waitresses, waiters, whatever, servers take with your food and what touches it and how it's handled and who sneezes where and when that happens might not be as high as you might hope the standard is in a lot of places, even pretty nice restaurants.
All right, next topic immediately.
So, it's good for you to get some other people's juices in your system.
Have you never worked in a restaurant at all?
No, the closest I've ever done was ice cream.
Man, I
dodged the food industry.
Ichiban wasn't exactly like a dirty restaurant or anything. It was pretty well maintained.
It was a pretty nice place, actually. It was really nice. And everyone that worked there, as far as I remember, was like, did their job, was really nice, servers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But stuff happens. It's people. Lots of people touch your food before you get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's several chefs who touch it. There's maybe someone who moves it around on the line, like the manager or somebody, and then a waiter touches it, or two waiters touch it, or there's a lot of stuff that happens.
And I mean, if you've ever seen the particle simulation thing when COVID was first starting, people were sharing that meme around.
Yeah.
Just imagine a restaurant full of people going, I love that. Yeah, a sports team. And then all those particles are floating in the air. Like everything is coated with everything.
Yeah.
There's no hiding from it.
Never.
My general approach to the
always be together.
My general approach to the world is,
Deal, my dear.
if it grosses you out to like find a hair in your food, which I'm not going to eat a hair I find in my food, but if I find a hair, it's kind of like, that's unfortunate.
Hair, I just pull out. If I see a hair,
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's gross. I'll pull it out.
There's a lot of stuff that can happen to food, and you never really know. But it's not going to hurt you. It boosts your immune system. Like I said, so I never wash my hands.
Yeah.
Lick them clean.
Ooh.
Use a public toilet and then lick your hands clean. Never got sick a day in my life, except all the times I was sick. But just ignore that.
That was a coincidence.
Unrelated. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, I really have never done that, but I always avoided that more out of just like, I feel like, some restaurant managers probably you would get in trouble for that potentially if they saw it. And also I didn't want the customers to be weirded out because I want them to come back to the restaurant I work at so I can get more tips. But I think that's totally reasonable to do. I'm sure that won't be controversial. Anyway, interesting stories. That's a 5-point story, Mark.
Oh, thank you. What? Yeah, thank you.
Your initial
The condom one. Sorry. Yeah, the condom.
You know what? Plus one for a side thing there that I found interesting.
Thank you. You want more titles? I got more titles.
Yeah, should we do another round? I'm into another round. Do you have another one, Wade?
Yeah, I think I've got another one. Let me think of a title real quick.
Wade's title first this time, so whenever you're ready. Don't rush it, though. Do a good one. No pressure.
Okay, I've got a title.
You got yours, Mark? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Give it to me, Wade.
2 scoops and sex advice.
Ew. Well, maybe ew is too harsh. How about What's your title, Mark?
Mine is Keep
going.
Yeah, wait, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's the end.
Oh, okay.
It's a long title.
It's a rambling title.
Well, no, it's concise.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna give it to Mark.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, no, I think using words for a title was way too cliche of me.
It's too normal, Wade. If I expect anything from you, it's abnormality. Let's be honest.
No, but yeah, by all means, Mark. But I hope you sing only in musical notes and tell us no words.
I assume Mark's story is just him playing banjo for 8 minutes.
Well, you'll see soon. It's actually not too long of a story. This actually took place while I was doing my deck building job. There was one day where I think it was a situation where we didn't know if it was going to rain or not. It was like the weather looked like it would be raining, so we didn't go out to a job site. But my boss, who was just a character in and of himself, many stories from him alone, but none that need divert us at this time, he decided that he still wanted me to work so that I could get paid. And I thought oh man, I'll just get paid for today and oops, rain happened. But no, he needed to get work out of me. So he took me to his parents' house and I was extremely confused. It didn't make any sense at all. He just kind of vaguely said that he was going to take me over to his parents' house and he would find some work for me. And I was basically captive. I was in his truck. He drove me to the job site, so I didn't have any choice in the matter. We carpooled basically. I drove to his house and then he got his truck. It was a Ford F450 that could haul all this lumber and all this scrap so that we could build decks properly. And he drives me to his parents' house. And we get there. And I get out of the truck and he immediately walks in and leaves me standing there. And I'm like, what? He goes in, talks to his parents and whatever. As it turned out, his parents actually owned the company, quote unquote, that was the deck building company. They didn't do any of the manual labor, of course. It was co-owned between him. I still don't know what the situation was, but they're talking in there and I'm standing awkwardly in the driveway, just I don't know. I'm being paid for this. And so eventually he pops around the side of the house and he waves me back. So I follow him and he points to a tree and I look at the tree and I'm like, yeah, boss, that's a tree. All right.
Tree. Did I get it right?
Do I get paid? Well, it was a cherry tree and there were cherries on it. So what he wanted me to do was pick cherries. And he was like, that was the job that I had. And I didn't understand. I've never picked cherries or any kind of fruit in a day in my life, but I was like, okay, I can figure this out. But they didn't give me a ladder. So it was kind of this, a cherry tree's not very tall, right? But there's cherries all the way up in the branches.
Taller than you are, though.
Well, for a normal sized human being, yes.
Listen, this is no time for you. you, shush.
Wow.
I was just agreeing with you. I don't know what the hostility's for.
Shush.
It's very cutting, Mark.
Yeah.
Good work.
So to give a perspective of what the situation is, there's the tree that's by this shed. That's the typical Midwestern shed that everyone else has seen. And the biggest compost heap I've ever seen in my life. And I had not seen many compost heaps in my time. This thing was taller than the shed by far.
Yikes.
And it was just this enormous mound of grass clippings, rotten food, all this stuff. It smelled horrendous. It hit me in the face as soon as I got close to the tree. It was just this wash. And I know that composting is a very regular thing. Some people do it. And his parents seemed very old fashioned with a larger yard and stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, I just got to pick the tree. So as I'm looking at the tree, the parents both come out bringing lawn chairs with them and they set it by the cherry tree. My boss, who is their son, gets another chair and they all sit down and the chairs are facing me and the tree.
Okay.
This is where the comes in because I thought okay, they were going to talk and hang out while I was doing this. And sure, they said some words, but the vast majority of the time, they initially were talking and then they went silent because they were all watching me fumble as I was trying to clamber up this tree with a bowl, grab a cherry, which is on a 2-stem weird thingy, and yank it off, put it in the bowl, and do this one at a time through the whole damn thing. They set me up. And I know this now. They set me up. They were not paying me to pick cherries. They were paying me for entertainment. As I fumbled around, scraped my arms, trying to climb this goddamn tree. And I was they started laughing after a while. And then eventually, there's a ladder around the back of the shed. And I'm like, you're telling me now? And I'm the bowl's half full of cherries. And they kept criticizing me every time one would fall to the ground. I was like, well, can't eat that one now. And I'm like, why not? And it was just it was just the most frustrating thing.
What the fuck? what?
I don't know. It was just so strange. The story kind of peters out there because I go get the ladder and then I finish the rest of the tree and then they just start talking. But it was just like, why? I didn't understand why any of that had to occur. And also I had to walk by the giant compost heap. That compost heap really sticks out in my mind.
I feel like the job and everything else was pretty clearly set out at the start.
No.
I thought you were gonna like fall into the compost heap or climb up it to get to the.
No.
There just was such a big compost heap that you felt like you had to set that part of the scene up just so that we knew it was there.
Yeah,
It was a red herring.
Look, it exists in my mind forever. It has to exist in the mind of everyone that hears this story. More than the cherry tree. The cherry tree was whatever. It's picking the cherries was whatever. The semicircle of chairs of two very old people staring at me like slack-jawed, watching me pick cherries. That and the frickin' heap of grass clippings just really sticks out in my mind.
That's really like questionable and concerning behavior to me. I mean, you're
yes.
fine.
No, I mean,
like what? What? The guy went in the house who drove you over there and was like, "Ma, Pa, I brought you a boy to watch.
I mean, basically.
Get the lawn chairs. We're watching a boy today." What the hell? What is that?
I don't know. Like, to this day, it still is very, very strange. And just
What did they use the compost for? Did they have like a big garden?
I don't know. They just had a huge compost heap, and I'm assuming it's just to break down their lawn clippings and stuff like that and let it do that naturally, whatever compost heaps are for. I don't think they used it for well, maybe they did. They might have had some like crops grown down the other side of the thing. I don't remember anything besides the giant pile and the cherry
The only
tree.
thing I remember seeing a pile of shit that big was your Octodad playlist. I fucking got him, dude, roasted.
Well, I'm trying. I watched those. I thought those were funny because Mark almost
funny.
lost his mind.
They are funny.
But I can't remember.
I
Is that a
permanently damaged
reference?
my voice, but yeah. No, it was just an insult.
Dude, that... Okay.
I just picked a random playlist, to be honest.
Not to blow smoke. I don't watch like all your videos necessarily, but there have been a couple playthroughs. All of your Dead Space content is fucking great, and I've watched all of it. And your Octodad playthrough is some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's really funny.
That thing, I think it's the expansion even, that thing where you're on like the climbing, you like the playground equipment and you got to climb around and cross the bridge and all this stuff. And you couldn't do it. You kept falling down.
Oh, man.
Holy, it was the first time that you reached the level of anger that everyone who's newer might be more familiar with in your getting over it videos.
Yeah.
With the violence committed against your hand and the chair and the controller. That Octodad playthrough. Oh man.
I'm glad we got to relive this.
God, that was funny. I remember that. Well, it's funny too because this is a thing. I don't really like rage games, but very particularly Octodad. I played that with Mandy. We loved that game. It was really fun. We had an awesome time. And you fucking hated it.
Yeah.
And then I Am Bread, too. I played I Am Bread, and like I'm not good at it, but I was like, this is crazy. This is fun. You flop around.
Oh.
I thought you were going to murder someone after I watched you play I Am Bread.
I Am Bread pissed me. Octodad is okay. I Am Bread pissed me off royally.
Yeah, no,
I love it so much when there's a game that I like that you just like can't handle. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
Surgeon Simulator is the one that I can never forget because of like him playing with you, then almost killing me afterward.
Yeah, no, that was
really
no
funny.
good. No good.
I dropped a spoon. I will never forget that I thought our friendship might be over when I dropped the spoon in game. Because the way you looked at me, I thought we could never talk again.
Man, I don't even remember it because the rage blocked
I
it
know.
from my mind.
I had never seen you that mad.
I remember that morning because I feel like I had to leave after Mark and I played, but I watched a little bit.
You did.
And he was so mad after we were just playing and fucking around and generally kind of having fun. I don't know what happened.
Now, people don't believe me when I say I get a temper and it's real and I don't like it. It's not fun.
But it's a very funny in like a scary, can't tell what's going to happen kind of way.
I get that to a lesser degree in rage games, but whenever you were legitimately pissed off in a game like Surgeon Simulator or something, and being the person sitting next to you, it actually feels like I'm a crash test dummy about to find out what life is like. being ripped to shreds.
Well, thankfully, you survived it, and we'll never have to experience it again. No one will.
We should get together and play Surgeon Simulator.
There's Surgeon Simulator 2 that we were playing for a bit there that had multiplayer.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
We should play that again.
No, we got to finish Raft first, guys.
You're right, we do actually.
Did you know that SCP game? I've been recording some of that SCP game that has some multiplayer to it too. Like the one where you see the weird vagina face dude and you can't look at it, or you have to stare at him and you can't. Like the one where you have blinking and it's like random layout. That's multiplayer now.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, that was random.
Sorry, we're going to actually take a break from the podcast and just schedule some recording
We're gonna
sessions.
record some games. We'll be back.
No, you know what, Mark? That's a 4-point story. I love that
Thanks.
story.
I
And
brought up Octodad.
I'm glad you survived, and at the end of it, they weren't like, all right, now fill that wheelbarrow up with some compost and bring it in the house.
Just bring it in. Don't ask questions. Just bring it.
We're going to put it to use.
Just put it on the bed.
And look, so I will say, point for you, Wade, for the Octodad tangent.
Yes.
Because I love that very much. But I will say that I've had people like come and work on the house. You know, like in my lifetime, I've hired people to do stuff, right? To come and fix a thing, to come and like do like pesticide stuff, whatever. Like I've had people where it's like they're at the house and I can never tell what I'm supposed to do because I don't want to just like go off and be distracted if they need me. You know, sometimes people are like, well, I need to find your attic. How do I do that or whatever? But I also don't want to just stand there and watch them and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing now? But like, I would never do that. I would never put chairs out and sit and watch like it's a show. That's so concerning. You guys do that? Is that normal? Is that more normal than I think it is?
I hover when people are in my house a bit, but I don't grab a lawn chair, get some lemonade, sit and just watch them work.
Yeah.
I just frequently check in to make sure that they're working and not robbing me blind.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Gotta trust people, Wade.
I don't.
But I'm glad they didn't do anything, concerning to you.
Well, not any more than what I saw. Who knows what they did when I left with those cherries?
Somewhere in that basement, there's a VHS tape with a secret recording of you picking cherries.
Maybe that's the real first video you ever were starring.
Maybe it was. You might be right.
All right. Well, that was such a jaunt that I can't even remember the boring old words that Wade used to make his title. What was your thing, Wade?
2 scoops and sex advice.
Yeah, that sounds good. Not as funny as a song title, but
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
did I say that was a 4-point story, Mark? Did I?
Yes.
Good work.
Thank you.
And a point for me for Octodad.
Oh, I wrote it down. I actually wrote it down this time.
Great. Well, I feel really confident and built up for my tale, so I guess I'll get started then if that's all right, Mr. Bob.
Yeah, I have pretty low hopes, so, surprise me, I guess.
Well, I worked at United Dairy Farmers for a while, which is an ice cream place / convenience store / gas station here in Cincinnati.
What kind of songs played in this store? Can you sing one for me?
We weren't allowed to have music except for Christmas time.
Oh my God.
Wow,
What
that's-
kind of...
There was no music. There was no joy.
I'm sorry. Did you grow up in the town from Footloose?
And after I left, they installed cameras even in the back room, so if you took a break to eat, they would know what you ate and how long you took to eat it.
Fascinating.
That sounds fun.
This is Big Brother Dairy Farmers. 1980 UDF.
The dairy farmers aren't paying you to eat, especially if you ain't eating dairy products.
No, like we weren't allowed to take quote unquote food breaks because technically since we worked in a place that served food, we were expected to just have fine time to eat along the way. Like it was something. But on this particular occasion, I've actually got kind of 2 tales blended into one because they happened around the same time. One day I was working just normal midday shift and this kid comes in, I don't know how old, somewhere between 12 and 16 probably. With guys, sometimes it's hard to tell because guys hit puberty at different ages. We're tend to be slower developers sometimes, so it's really hard to tell. Somewhere in that age range, I would guess. And he walked over, and typically whenever people that age come in, they grab like a Gatorade or a candy bar, they go over to the ice cream, whatever. But he goes over to like our medicine section, and I'm like, well, that's a little weird. And so whenever people do something kind of out of the ordinary, you tend to keep an eye. And he kind of kept looking over at me while he was over there, and I was like, okay, this is like 2 red flags already. Dude's like eyeing me and he's in the medicine section. What is going on? And before I can like get around the counter to go like walk over and offer to assist him or whatever to actually, kind of imply, hey, I'm here. What the fuck are you doing? He looks at me over the shelf and he goes, hey, where are the condoms? And I was kind of taken aback because I had never been asked that before in this store. Because typically, people come for ice cream and milk or whatever. We don't sell condoms here. Really? You guys have all this other stuff? No, we don't sell condoms because, well, United Dairy Farmers, at least at that time, did not sell condoms. All right. Well, you kind of look like you get around, and I'm going to be getting some tonight. Do you have any advice? Is what he followed up with to me.
Oh.
And I was like, what? He's like, I haven't really done it before. You got any tips?
Oh, he said I haven't really done it before?
He said that.
Oh, I thought this dude was out here just bragging around like, I get a lot of puss, so I need some condoms.
Well, he's about to get some for the first time, apparently, and I looked like I got around, so he wanted advice.
This weirdly reminds me of the first time I ever bought a condom. I walked in, this UDF maybe.
Was it you?
I realized you can buy them. Where you got your condom?
My God, you guys were about the same height.
I only ever stole these before. I didn't even know you could pay for them with money. Where are they? I'd like to procure some for sex having.
I thought they were earned like Highlander. I got it.
I don't even remember how I responded at this point. I was so taken up because at first I thought he was coming to steal something because one, he went to a place that, kids typically don't go to. And then
it's a good shoplifting spot. Yeah.
Well, he kept peeping at me.
Our UDF used to get hit all the time for that. Yeah.
Well, it's right by our medicine was kind of like by the door too. So if you were going to grab something and run, like that was a good spot to go to, I guess. But also the fact that he kept peeping over the shelf and looking at me, maybe because he was nervous, about looking for condoms or something, or maybe because he was like, I don't see him. Maybe I should ask. I don't want to ask. Maybe it's embarrassing. But you look like you get around. Do you have any tips?
Was this Afro Wade? What version of Wade was this?
I didn't have an Afro for many years before this. This was like right before.
I can see that for Afro Wade.
This was like 2010, 2011. So this is like shortly before we started YouTube. So if you go back and look at my first YouTube video, I looked like that. But you also have to imagine that I'm wearing a white UDF shirt with a red or maroonish apron, khaki pants, black shoes, whatever. Like I'm wearing an apron working at a retail place, and this dude tells me I look like I get around, and to give him sex advice, I'm a 22-year-old man, somewhere in that range, and this kid's asking me for sex tips. And I just didn't, so many different lines were being muddied and crossed at that point, I didn't know what to do. So I don't even remember how I answered him. Fast forward 2 or 3 weeks, I'm working behind the ice cream counter. We are actually very busy. I think we had 3 of us working. 2 of us were at registers. I was over at what we call dip side, where we serve ice cream. So you come over and you get like your scoops of ice cream, your milkshakes, whatever. And I am helping customers over there. 2 other employees are helping people at the front registers. Out of nowhere, one of the people at the registers like asks a question, and I see one of like my coworkers look at me, and I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "This guy has a question for you." And I was like, "Okay, what's up?" I'm helping kids get ice cream. I'm scooping ice cream for like little kids. And this dude goes, "Hey, my girlfriend and I want to role play. Do you think she should go for naughty teacher or naughty secretary?" But specifically, I was the one that they asked to answer this question. This is a different customer, mind you.
You must have given off such a strong stench of an...
I must have been like
alpha.
in the heat or something. It must have been Wade mating season, and I was giving off a vibe for about a month. But twice in a month, just as an employee at an ice cream shop, I was prompted for sex advice.
You just radiate such undeniable Sigma male vibes that anyone who's even in the same vicinity as you can sense that you
I'm scooping ice cream for probably like a 5 or 6-year-old. And this dude asks me naughty teacher or naughty secretary over everyone in the place. And not everyone just looks at this person like they're a madman. I feel like everyone's eyes turn to me like, "Oh, how's he going to answer this?"
Yeah, well, what'd you say? There's a right answer.
I think I said, I don't really know. I'm trying to help somebody, but good luck. I think I said something along those lines to try to get out of it because I, wanted to keep my job.
That's not the right answer.
There's something about having a scoop of Blue Moon cookie dough in a cup for a 5-year-old that makes you not want to answer sex questions from someone you're not helping. I don't know. Just in my brain, it didn't seem like the right time. What's the right answer, by the way? I need to take notes.
Obviously, school teacher.
Teacher. Got it. Thanks. Well, those are my UDF sex tales. I know they weren't musical or full of shit or cherries, but I hope they were still good for you.
I like the idea that you somehow, by doing nothing and not knowing how to respond to these weird questions, gained the reputation as the sex guru who scoops at UDF.
Yeah, they're like, he scoops ice cream, but that's not all he scoops.
With scoops like those, you know he's getting some.
Can you imagine asking a retail worker for sex advice?
I mean, no, I get that, you know, a young man might feel uncomfortable asking, well, uncomfortable, or also might get chewed out pretty good asking like your parents or someone about what to do, or like condoms or safe sex or role-playing questions, I guess. But in that public to a stranger who's a shopkeeper of any sort doesn't seem like the first place I would go, probably.
At least the first dude, I was the one already talking to him. I don't know why I was singled out the second time around.
You're just a sexual, you're just a monster.
Dynamo.
Yeah, it's undeniable. It's just gonna happen.
Hey, me.
Was there something you did? Was there something about you? Was there clothes you wore or cologne or something? What was this? What was the heart of it? Did you get around? Were you really getting it back then, I guess?
No, I was in a relationship with one girl throughout college.
How'd that work out?
I had literally a white, like, semi 3-button UDF shirt and a... Well, Mark, to answer your question, it didn't go well.
Oh.
Yeah, see, you don't do secretary. You gotta go school teacher. That's your problem.
Damn it. I guess it did go well because, I'm pretty happy now, so it all worked out.
That's true.
It was tough at the time.
So you'd do it again?
Well, no, I'm married. If I did, I'd be cheating.
Oh, okay.
But if you mean if I go back and just live the same life, yeah, I probably wouldn't change anything. I'm pretty content.
Fair enough. I like that.
And I've gotten away with not knowing anything about my friends for many years. It's been great.
Well, we've only confirmed one. You might know something about Bob and whatever friends you might elsewhere.
That's true.
I don't.
All right.
If this was a Molly asking me questions quiz, ooh, man. Let's just be glad it's you guys, right?
Wow. Maybe, do you need to just talk to Molly more? Do you need some time off of the podcast?
No, I need to listen and remember more.
Oh, that's right. Talking's not the part.
I'm great at talking. It's everything else that friends do I'm not good at.
All right.
I'm good at being the one talking.
Well, I gotta tell you, Wade, that is definitely a whoops. That's not how you type numbers. That's a 3-point story right there.
We've gone from 5 to 4 to 3, but all right, I'll accept it.
Well, listen, I don't know how many more stories we have. I'm sure there are more, but I'm gonna call it there. And
Can
just
we tell
like
a bonus quick story, I got a bonus quickie.
Just like in Mario Party, I'm gonna be a douchebag and add random points to random people's scores here at the end.
Yay! This always works out.
Mark, do you have a quickie?
This always works out.
I
Mark,
have a quickie. Do you have a quickie?
No quickies.
no quickies. This is the wrap up. Mark, you get 1 point for just probably looking so good in your deck building jeans. I'm assuming jorts.
Yeah, you guess right.
1 point for jorts.
Did you get? How many people asked you for sex advice while you're wearing your jorts?
Weirdly enough, my boss did.
All right, you know what? Touche.
Wow.
My boss talked about sex stories all the time. That was kind of his thing.
That's a definite point.
Nice jorts. You look like you get around. How do you fuck?
But Wade, luckily for you, your raw sexual magnetism is worth a point, plus 1 bonus point for each random stranger that accosts you in public and asks you for sexual advice.
That's fair.
At least 2.
That gets you plus 3 sex points.
Oh, hell yeah.
If my math is correct, which I don't know why I wrote it like this because it's really hard to read, but if it's right, that leaves Wade with 12 points.
Wow, that's more than 11.
Let me see if I can add Mark's up.
Yeah, but it's just you wait, Wade.
Oh, wait, I made it a tie. Mark also has 12 points.
Yes!
Man, I really feel like I lost some points in here. I don't know what happened, too.
What? When did you lose points?
I really thought those 3 bonus points at the end were going to put me over the edge.
No, something happened. You do get his bonus point for having an extra story, though. We're not going to talk about it, but Mark was all saying nay. I didn't like that. So you get the point for having a quickie, Wade.
Great. I will never tell you all what it is,
but he didn't tell
I appreciate it nonetheless.
I believe him. He's such a believable Alpha Sigma man fellow that I believe him.
What does that make
also,
me?
I'm a little turned on.
What?
I don't know. The beta, I guess?
Oh, you looking so handsome today.
Oh, that feels pandery.
One of us speaks in riddles, one of us speaks in rhymes.
God, Mark loses
Why don't
8
we
points.
go and have a fun time?
Bringing that bit back. Well, now Wade definitely wins.
It's okay, Mark. You got a bonus point in my book, but I'm not the host.
All right, well, it looks like you will be, so I'll remember it.
You can't defeat Wade's raw sexual magnetism, his prowess, his obvious stud-like essence. You can't beat it.
Dude, when I walk in the room with an ice cream scoop and stains all up my apron, you know I fuck.
Plus, he risked his life, probably, because of the powder, maybe, that was in the thing. And the piss, toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
I came closer to getting stabbed than dying from the mail, but yeah, the mail was also just terrifying in general because you never knew.
I don't know. I don't like this. Actually, keeping points makes everything so final and decisive. I think I'm going to go back to just randomly picking a winner next time. But today's winner, because of numbers and math, is Wade. Congratulations.
So wait, I win one time and you're like, I don't like the system. I want to go back to Mark
something's
winning.
wrong with the system. I don't like the system.
Hold on.
It doesn't work out in a way that I like or enjoy, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's some kind of problem here. Anyway, Mark, do you have a loser's speech? You want to pick some cherries for us?
I feel like wait, no, hold on. There were two. There's two.
Three of us?
No, ChatGPT. Hold on.
Will, don't cut this out. Leave this out.
Hold on. Okay.
Huh? We're waiting.
Good math.
Okay. No. Oh God, I gotta relog it. Hold on. Oh, it's at capacity.
Two.
No, hold on. Wait.
What are you doing?
She's trying to get a ChatGPT loser's speech, aren't you, you loser?
I gotta go another route. Hold on.
You loser.
I got it in. Okay. The answer is within, but I will not reveal it. Do you want to know what the trick is? It's that there are two answers, and neither one of them has anything to do with the other.
Okay.
In this case, though, the, quote, trick was actually an important bit of information. We were sitting in our apartment in Toronto on Saturday afternoon. Me and my computer. Grace across from me on the couch with her feet propped up against the edge of my bed. Can you solve that one, guys?
One of us speaks in riddles, the other speaks in rhymes.
Oh my god.
Wait, no, I got real quick.
Oh, it goes on?
No, okay, I got a rhyme for you.
Oh, great.
If I'd been on the side of the angels, I could have stopped Hitler dead in his tracks. Graham Greene attributed the third man. There is something that can be called an ironic story, only when there has not been any humor involved.
What a great loser speech. 10 out of 10. If
There
only
we
we
go.
had been angels.
If only we had been angels.
Oh my god. AI, you did it again.
I'm really glad we went there. I was thinking, talking about careers, sex advice, compost, we should talk about angels and Hitler.
Obviously. It's so
Obviously.
obvious, it's too obvious.
Yeah, good.
This episode has flowed like a river.
Wade, do you have a winner speech that sounds like it's written by a human?
Yes, let me tell you the tale of another short story of work some other time. Thank you for having me. I'm the best. Everyone out there wearing an apron, you know we fuck. We'll insert the mic drop sound.
I hate both of those speeches. Good work, I guess. Excellent.
You're welcome.
I wish I could undo that, but that's not how this podcast works.
We scoop, we score, baby.
Is that the official UDF employee motto?
It's the unofficial UDF employee who bangs motto.
Wow. Well, congratulations, unfortunately, to Wade, I guess. Make sure you follow Mark at Markiplier and Wade at LordMinion777 or Minion777. My username is MySkerm. Follow my stuff too. You check out our merch. There's merch. Store.distractablepodcast.com. Still haven't
Yes.
learned that one.
One of us speaks in riddles, the other speaks.
Fucking stop. Shut up. No more of that. That bit dies here. It's over now. Don't worry about it. There's no riddles or rhymes because that's the end.
If only we were angels.
Podcast out.
The leftovers were stacking high until Mark arrived. With gusto known only to a young man, he rampaged across the plate, and whirlwind-like, he cleared the lot. We hope you have untouched food in all your future dining experiences. Until next week, on Distractible.